We're here with David Soul, the phenomenal star of Starsky and Hutch, among many other fantastic endeavors. David, how are you today?
I'm starting to feel it. It's been a long day.
And do you enjoy meeting your fans?
I enjoy people. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to say hello, and people are normally very, very pleasant, and so it's nice to see them. Yeah.
Now, you've been acting for many years, both on stage and on film, but I think what most people know you for is Starsky and Hutch. That's the iconic show. Did you know at the time that it was going to be something that people would still be remembering and talking about and enjoying all these years later?
Of course not. Yeah. You have no way of gauging that. If you did that, there'd be a lot of everybody would be out there with a hit record, wouldn't they? Or a hit television show. I have no idea. No, of course not. You basically go and do your job, and do it as well as you can, and the rest of it is, on the other hand, you have to build a show over a period of time. You can't do that so much anymore. Starsky and Hutch was not a hit when it first came out, but the network believed in it, so they stuck with the show, and then we built a following and an audience, and it just took off. Today, if you don't have a show that isn't a success within the first 5-6 shows, it's gone, So those were the days when actually the business built the shows, and if they believed in something, they stuck with it. Not so much today.
I mean, one of the things as well about Starsky and Hutch was it was a very brave show, because I think it was about the 3rd or 4th episode in, they did the storyline, with the getting addicted to forced addicted to drugs, and then having it, and which is, at that time was such a powerful story to see on screen.
Well, it was, you may know, it was banned from the BBC. The BBC wouldn't show that show. It was called The Fix. And Hutch gets strung out on heroin. There's some guys that shoot him up, and not through no fault of his own, but they thought it was too risque to put on television. Starsky and Hutch did touch on a lot of social issues at the time. A lot of, from everything from prostitution to child, violence against children to. Racism, lots of interesting, important issues at the time, some of which are not so important anymore, some of which are very important still.
I think there definitely are those aspects of the show that are just as important nowadays, because I think, like you say, a lot of these issues like crime, and there aren't shows on TV that I think deal with it maybe with the same depth and the same seriousness that I think Starsky and Hutch did.
Well, I don't know that's true or not. I think one of the things that was really good about S&H was that it was humanized. It was a very human show. It was more about 2 guys who happened to be cops than two cops, and the way they dealt with people and dealt with circumstances. They were not so much interested in law as they were in justice, and they got into a lot of trouble sometimes. But their humanity was the thing that really made that show work, not only to themselves, but in their relationship with the community.
How easy was it to capture that extraordinary relationship? Was that something that came very naturally between the both of you as actors, or was that something that you had to work on a lot off camera?
No, we didn't work on it that much. I mean, we worked on the scripts. Most of them were not real good.
Really?
Yeah. We did a lot of work on the scripts, but as far as our relationship was concerned, that was something that, well, I've known Paul since the mid-'60s in New York, and didn't see him again until we started the show in like 1974. And it was like that quick, and then we just used our relationship and developed our characters with that relationship. It was who do we trust? We trust each other, It's me and thee. That's what it was all about. And that was the key, I think, to the quote, chemistry of the show.
And I think the only other contender, for the 3rd character in the show was the car, because I think when people think of the show, they can't not think of the car.
No. I'm just because the car got more mail than we did.
Really? People wrote to the car.
Absolutely. You'd be surprised how silly, how stupid people can be. They can write to a car. No, actually, the car was very popular sort of symbol of the show. I hated it. You know, it's like here it was supposed to be undercover cops, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. With a car like that, you bet.
Go faster stripe and just
right.
not an undercover car.
Really, you know, good thinking. But it became very emblematic of the show, so that's all right. But the other characters were much more important. I mean, Antonio Fargas, who played Huggy Bear, and who lived on the other side of the kind of gray side of the law, and the police chief who was aspiring in a white society to become, you know, an upstanding and strong police captain. And I think Starsky and Hutch was the first show to show that, you know. And I think the very first police chief in America, in Cleveland, I think, came about the same time. So it's interesting. So I thought those characters were more significant and a lot more worthy than the car, frankly.
Good response. Now, obviously, a lot of younger fans will be familiar, perhaps, with the more recent film version of the show. I know you had a brief cameo in that, but I wondered what you felt about that. Did you feel it did justice, or was it just trying to do something completely different from the show?
In a word, I thought it sucked.
Really? You're happy to admit that?
Oh, absolutely. It was a terrible film. I didn't like it at all. It was not Starsky and Hutch. It was people trying to play at Starsky and Hutch. You know, it was not. And whatever humor that we had was unforced, generally unforced humor. They really worked at it hard.
Because I think from a fan's point of view, I was very disappointed, like you say, just to see them sort of, it was a parody rather than an actual honest, you know, because I wanted to see that. I wanted to see the hard, gritty cop drama that everyone loved.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. There you go. They paid us a truckload of money, so we did it.
I was going to ask the next question, why did you cameo if you didn't like it? But
that's why. Paul and I had wanted to do a show of our own, a film of our own, with these guys meeting down the road 30 years, you know, later. And we just about had the deal at Warner Brothers, and then they, you know, made a deal with the writer, with Bill Blinn, an offer he couldn't refuse, you know. So that's what you know, how it ended up. You know, with two other guys playing the role.
Disappointing, but at least it brings a new audience to the show. I guess, final question, what are you working on at the moment? I remember quite a few years ago now, I saw you, I think, at the Lowry Theatre in Manchester doing, I think, was it Death Trap, or it might have been, it's been a while now, but are you back in theatre, or are we going to be able to see you anytime soon?
Well, I don't know. Probably, I hope so. I mean, I did Jerry Springer the Opera, obviously, or long after Death Trap.
Oh, yeah.
And I did Mac and Mabel. And so forth. I'm working on a documentary now on Cuba. 3 by 1 hour documentary, which we're in the development stages. So, you know, there's still some life in the old codger yet.